Hello and welcome back to Vedic Velocity, where we bring in ancient wisdom into modern living in this live experiment. I hope you had a good day of work or school and it was productive and not super stressful. Mine was a little stressful, and so I am about to go meet some of my friends to de stress, and perhaps all of us will rant about our own work experiences and situations, and nothing out of the ordinary, nothing to be a cause of concern, but something for sure where ancient wisdom will be helpful. Because in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali that we're going to cover today, we will look at this exact thing of extreme experiences that we have and how we want to be able to deal with them, how to best empower ourselves, especially at work, to deal with those stressful situations with your boss, with your colleagues, so that you don't put yourself in a position where later on you have to apologize. You want to be in that position where you can use that tense situation for something better for your career. So let's go into the second sutra of Patanjali, Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodha. Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodha, arthat, yoga is mind movements damping. Now, the key word here is Nirodha, because I see a lot of these translations into English saying cessation, restriction, suppression, and I understand where that is coming from, but also yoga will never ask you to suppress your energy. It's all about directing anything and everything. The Vedic philosophies, yogic philosophies, most, as far as I know, of the Hindu ancient philosophies, none of them will ever ask you to suppress anything. It will always be about directing your energy, directing your emotions, directing your feelings, your thoughts, your meditation, and that too in a healthy way. Not necessarily productive, just healthy. Something that won't come back and hurt you. This is where I am using the word damping. It's more of a skyscraper or civil engineering word, but it fits here perfectly because damping is a method to decrease the oscillatory peaks by absorption or drainage of extreme energy. Let's go over that again. Damping is a method to decrease the oscillatory peaks by absorption or drainage of extreme energy. Skyscrapers use dampers to reduce their oscillations by wind, so outside forces. And these are crucial to maintain stability of the building, especially in more extreme circumstances of high winds and earthquakes. And I do love the word damping here. And as you'll find out in the next sutras, it keeps applying very well. Because a damper in a building, if that building is your mind and the outside forces of wind and earthquakes are your environment that you're operating in, then the damper is basically the wisdom you're gaining about yourself through yoga. It is your core. And having a core that can reduce the oscillations of the mind or the building caused by outside forces is an extremely helpful and important thing to do. And this connects to the next sutra, Tada drashtuhu swarupe vasthanam. Then the seer upon their own true nature settles. Arthat, meaning, then the seer settles upon their true nature. You go to your core self when you're not oscillating. So, put together, yoga is the damping of the oscillations of the mind so that the seer can settle upon their own nature. And bringing in the next Yoga Sutra, Vritti Sarupyam Itaratra, meaning otherwise your nature conforms to these oscillations. Those extreme what ifs become your nature, become your identity. So put these three together. Yogaschitta vritti nirodha, tada drashtu swarupe vasthanam, vritti sarupyam itaratra. Yoga is damping of oscillations of the mind so that the seer settles upon their true nature, their core self. Otherwise, these oscillations become your identity. Imagine you're in a tense situation with your boss and you are maybe surrounded by your colleagues. Or you're in school and you're facing your professor, or you're facing a very tough exam. In that situation, your anxiety can really damage your performance and your awareness and alertness in that situation. Remember, we're on the chapter on concentration. So Patanjali is emphasizing to us that our first thing to concentrate on is actually to reduce the noise. It's not even ourselves, it's just to reduce the noise, those oscillations caused by those what ifs at work, what ifs at dates, what ifs in family, what ifs in life. So many of those what ifs. We're just acknowledging that those what ifs are there and trying to not respond to them, and realizing that when we don't respond to much of that noise, we settle on our core self, our true nature. And after that, we're also emphasizing that because if we do not do that, the reason we want to do that is because otherwise these anxieties, these extreme what ifs, become our identity. We start believing in them fully. And those fears of us being unlikable, our work being bad, all of those fears become, in a sense, true. That's it for today's video. I would urge you to remind yourself tonight while you go to sleep that you want to damp the oscillations of your mind so that those extreme what ifs don't become your identity, and you reduce that noise and you're able to discover or settle upon your true self. I'm now about to go meet my friends and talk about our bosses and work. I invite you to do the same. Tell me in the comments about your superiors, your bosses, your work, your professors, or whoever, or your customers, perhaps, if you run a business. How are they treating you today or maybe this week? Let me know down in the comments. And make sure you like this video, leave your thoughts, share this video with someone who you think it can help, and whatever helps the algorithm. But as a yogi, I must say that if you do any of these things, or if you do not do any of these things, I will not take it as a judgment of myself or of my worth or of my self-esteem. Though if you do this, I will be pleased. And if you do not, I will be a little disappointed. And especially if you've made it this far, uh, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and see you in the next one.